Well, howdy, folks. Dave Man here again. Rollman Revolution. Now, I recorded a video, scrapped it, recorded another video, scrapped it. And usually I don't do that. I usually kind of speak from the heart, and whatever records, records. I don't edit very much. I hate editing. I don't have an editor, and it's so time-consuming anyway, so I try to get it on one take. But because of the subject matter, and because of the issues that are kind of at play, and because there are only a minimal amount of people actually willing to have that conversation, because either they live their life in fear, they're waiting for their next job, they know that the jobs and the gatekeepers that control the world, so they're afraid to talk. And I understand it. I get it. I understand that there's a lot of people that have a lot to lose or a lot to gain by going along and getting along. But that's not truth. That's not authentic. You know, I was thinking about this the other day, that majority of us, me included, will go through life with a mask. We pretend to the world that this is what we want you to see us as. But when we are in our homes with our families, we kind of let that mask off, and we kind of, unzip your pants, so to speak, and kind of just relax. Take your, put your feet up, kind of kick back, and you can just be yourself. Now, why is it that we cannot be ourselves to the world? Now, I understand there has to be, there's something called couth and having tact, but why is it that we cannot express our authentic selves to the world? Why is it that if Americans who claim to live in a free country can't have conversations about specific subject matter, and if you do have conversations about specific subject matter, you're only allowed to talk about it this way or that way? Now, for those who know what I'm talking about, and I'm going to mention the name here real soon, most of the time, the reason why people avoid these conversations is because they're afraid of the backlash. They're afraid of the response or the retaliation that may come from mentioning a name that you are not allowed to speak about. And that is the word Israel or Jew. Now, if your hair stood up on the back of your neck when I say the word Jew, you should be asking yourself why. Okay, when we're talking about a group of people, Catholics, Protestants, whites, blacks, descriptive words. Jew or Jewish is a descriptive word talking about a specific group of people or people who categorize themselves as such. But if you ever say it out loud, it's almost, if it's taboo. Oh, what are you doing? And I often wondered as a young man going through the college system, who was a person very interested at wanting to be part of public life at some point, was so shocked at the way that the system actually ran. I was completely overwhelmed at how much shit people eat just to get that next job, just to get that next, if you do your part and you play your cards right, you'll get taken care of kind of thing. It's a club. George Carlin mentioned this, and I didn't really, at the time when the joke came out, I really didn't think about it that way. But I understand now as an older person exactly what he's talking about. There's this ruling class system that's been going on for decades. The history that you think you know is all been written by them. The world that you see, the stage, the drama that is being presented before you, all created by them. But that's not where power lies. That's not where real power lies. Power lies in you and in me and in every person kind of walking around on this place. But what they've done, what this ruling class, this system has done, is they figured out a way to group all of us, put us in whatever category you want, and some of us in multiple categories, and some of us in all categories. And they've taken the categories and they've shaken them all up, and then they've told you a set of rules about the system, about the categories, and who's not allowed to like each person, who's not allowed to talk to each person, why you should hate each other. And guess what? Society, low information society who doesn't understand really kind of what game is being played against them, They play the game, and they do it, and they fight it out, and they go back and forth, and they create this ruckus of nonsense, which is all it is complete and utter bullshit. It's not real. And I'm shocked at how often people are drawn into that. But when real news happens, when real substance happens, you can start to see another pattern happen. It's like there's a resistance being played. Like some of the things, I mean, whether you like Trump or not, and I didn't want to make this political, but whether you like Trump or not, the crap that's going on in the court system is absolutely fascinating. I mean, some of the things that they are claiming, they know themselves are not true. But they're doing it just to hold this administration up so it cannot achieve what it's trying to achieve. I mean, I'm just United States of America, and we have people within our own government working as active opposition against the legal authority of the President of the United States, and this shit is going on all the time, and the media isn't really talking about it. They're not trying to break these people and saying, whoa, mother effer, find these judges, find these lawyers, find these law firms that are playing these games, and you expose them for what they are. You show them. Show all their dirty laundry. That would make a much better America. But like I said, when you understand how the system is set up, who really controls the system here in the United States, and why stuff never really gets accomplished the way it's supposed to get accomplished, is because of the outside influence, mainly Israel, which has meddled in the affairs of American policy and American policy makers for decades and decades and decades and decades. Okay, you go back to 1947. And the creation of the CIA, and then creation of Israel shortly after that. And then shortly after that, guess what? Mossad was created. They're all one and the same. They're all the same outfit. They all report to one another. They all share one another, and they all plan and operate together. Look, I'm not here to shit on any country or race of people or anything like that, but you have to call things for what they are. And I don't know what has happened in the United States where everybody has gotten some completely dumb to the point where they're like, I can't even talk about this stuff because we're talking about Israel, the chosen people. Okay, wait a minute. Stop. Okay, we need to go back a little bit, too, about history because this whole thing about chosen people, I'm not going to get into that on this video, but I think the wording has been manipulated in that regard. It's the people who chose God, and those were Israelites. But anyway, I'm not even... The point being is that you have a group of people, okay, here in the United States, over in Israel, okay, that for whatever reason are always playing the victim card in the sense that nobody likes them. These other countries are constantly trying to kill us. And it's like, well, wait a minute. Why would they be trying to do that? Oh, they just hate the Israel and the Jewish people. But I'm like, but that's not what it seems like from the people on the ground. And when you hear the opposition story as to the reasons why some of this going on, it's like it's predicated against one another. It's like when you have a country who is the full support of a mega country like the United States, and then that country goes around poking the bear everywhere, where the United States then has to come in behind them and support and defend or support and fight in the wars that they create. I don't see how that is a fair game and a system or a setup that actually makes sense. They even have the mainstream media sell it to the American people because you have to sell wars today. You have to give people the reasons why you need to hate these other people. And that's what they did with 9/11. That's what they've done throughout the decades. But people started catching on to it. Because what 9/11 did for a lot of people, okay, forget about the whole event in and of itself that makes zero sense. All of physics just died that day, and every job in the American government failed that day. Everybody had to fail, everybody had to screw up, and they all had to do it at the same time. I don't believe in coincidences. I believe that that was a targeted, coordinated effort between the CIA, our government, Mossad, Israel, all done to drag the United States into an overseas war for 20-plus years and then some. Billions of dollars to the military-industrial complex, complex. They ain't complaining. And of course, Israel won't be complaining because we're doing all the bidding. Because it's Johnson, Smith, and Jones who are dying in these wars, not the people who created and started them. And I, as an American citizen, care about my people. That's what you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be caring about your family. I worry about my family first. Then I worry about the people within my vicinity. And then we branch outward, right? That's how it works. But we're expected, as American citizens, to throw our families and make our families suffer from day to day to day, paycheck to paycheck to paycheck, barely getting through, barely getting educated, always giving the last bit of shit that they have left over. That's how Americans are treated. We pay all the taxes so that we can go fight and die in overseas wars. How in the hell's name does that benefit anybody? Especially Americans. You tell me why. I want Israel. I want Bibi Netanyahu to come here and stand here and talk before all of the families of American peoples and explain to me why we need to be fighting in these wars. Why? Because, again, I don't see any ups for the American people in this whole thing. And they keep trying to say, well, if you don't stop it over here, they're going to come here. Look, the problem with it is the only reason why so many people hate the United States is because we support this nonstop nonsense. And you know it. And I get sick and tired of this, okay? Because this nation could be great if we didn't have outside influence meddling in the affairs of how our government thinks and acts. Look, we wouldn't be fighting if you had common sense people who actually had real jobs, who actually lived real life in the United States and then went and served in our nation's capital for the people or the districts that they actually represent. You would get a much different outcome because guess what? Those people would be looking out for the people within their districts, within their nation, within their country. American working class wage earners, you and me, the everyday common working man. All of us are in the same boat, but they've lied to us. They've played games against us. They've put us all in different groups on purpose, and we all fell for it. And it's still going on. You would not believe when I put some truth out on one of the social media platforms that I'm fairly regular on, the comments of ignorant people just astound me. And these are older folks sometimes too, people that should know better, but they don't. They say what's on their mind too, and it comes from a place where they believe they know the truth. But because I've done the work, I know that they have no idea what they're talking about. But there's no sense in arguing back and forth because I'm not going to convince somebody who makes some of these most outlandish statements. First, I got to figure out where that's coming from. Where does all that hate, where does all of that, it's unreal, some of the comments that people will make when you say some of the things that Israel are doing right now to the Gazian people. It's horrifying. And some of the comments when I just said that it's just a shame that we have to do it this way, and some of the comments would be like, yeah, Bibi needs to continue to keep rubbing the salt in the wound of all those people. It's like, do we have lost compassion for anything? Where does all of this hate come from? Because only the unloved hate. I don't know what has happened to us as a nation. I don't know what has happened to us. We stopped thinking. We stopped, I was thinking about this the other day. I remember when I was growing up, we had dinner table conversation. We would have kids in the neighborhood, and they would come down to my house one week for the dinner, and we'd all sit around. My mom, my dad, and my brother, and the other kids, and sometimes the family, the parents of the family or the kids would come down, and we would all just have conversations about everyday life. What's going on in your life? What's going on in your life? Did you hear about that thing with that such and that? You would talk about current events and things that were going on, and did you hear about this and you hear about that? And it's how we scrape away bullshit from real truth. The real conversations happen at the dinner table. The real conversations happen in your communities. The real conversations happen in those close. It doesn't happen out here. Too many of us Americans, the younger generation realizes this too now, which is amazing because they're the ones who grew up on it. The world doesn't exist in here, in this thing, your phone, whatever this little device is. It doesn't exist in there, but so many people believe it does. They spend most of their friggin' day in that thing. And this system knows that. It's so easy to manipulate anyone today. As long as you know what moves them, what drives them, what can I get them to do? And I know there are people out there watching this video right now who goes, I know what I'm talking about. I'm like, yeah, I know. I thought that too. I thought I knew everything about this. I realize I don't know shit. I just know so many ways that it's not true. But I'm still always on the path of trying to find real truth. And if I do, we all will recognize it. It's very easy to recognize truth. Nobody has to be told that's truthful. Everybody knows what it is. But somehow this apparatus, this thing that we're in, this stage, this presentation that has been laid out, we've been told that this is the best we got. These are the best of times bullshit. We've heard, we're living in the best of times. This is the best technology, the best way of doing things, the best economic system, the best of everything. And based upon the way that they have told us the history was, they would be right. But if you really are a person who cares about who you are, what you are, and where you're going, you have to really know where you came from first to know where you are currently. And I think the biggest problem with this realm that we are living in is that I don't think anybody really knows what the hell we're doing here, what's going on here. Because you read all of the ancient scriptures and the manuscripts and all of that other stuff, and the Old Testament, New Testament, the Quran, all of the major books. You read them all. Okay, have them interpreted. You sit and thought. If you are really honest with yourself, based upon the way that this thing operates, those books are insufficient. They don't explain the full thing. It still doesn't explain, like, what am I doing here right now? Why was I born on this date and this date in 1975? Why? What was I doing before that? And they say, no, you weren't doing anything before that. Just now, this is it. You're born. You're going to have this moment, and then you're going to, and then that's, if you did good, you go here. If you didn't do good, you go there. Really? It's weird. Such a weird world we're living in. But getting back to my point, we are living in a time now where what is being presented to us is not even we know it's not the reality. We know that for sure. But it's why. Why are things not getting any better? Why does America have we consider the richest country in the world, but have one of the worst education systems, the shittiest healthcare response? I'm sorry. Everybody thinks we got the best healthcare here. We got the best, what's the word? By the book, if you believe those books, healthcare system in the world, and then they make it so impossible to get some of the healthcare coverage that you need. It's the biggest bullshit game, in my opinion. When you look into the history of the pharmaceutical industry and petroleum-based medicines, and how all of the old alchemic ways of healing things and medicines that people used to derive out of herbs, trees, saps, all sorts of different elixirs, and how that information you have no access to, but it's been taken, confiscated, and then repurposed. They figured out how to make the molecule, put it into a salt form, and then distribute it to you and charge you for it. It's amazing. All of the things here that were naturally given to us have been stolen, seized, and are now owned by somebody. So the stage has been set. It's been given to you. This is the stage you've been given. And you have to either determine whether or not this is the game you want to play, or do you want to change it? And the only way it changes, this is the key part. Everybody may want to listen to this part. The only way this place changes, this whole thing changes, is we all have to change. And that's the hard part. Because most of the people in this world do not give a shit about anything I'm saying, so many things other people are saying. They just want to be left alone. And unfortunately, this reality, I mean, I should say maybe a few souls we could probably, but majority. If majority of the people on this place do not walk in the same direction together, there's no way. We're going to continue to keep playing the barbaric bullshit political drama nonsense games in which the country for which we live, the United States of America, is not controlled or run by Americans. You have a Federal Reserve, which is owned by the same group of people that enslave us here, okay? Central banks. Why do we have a central bank? Does anybody know why we have a central bank? I can tell you why we have a central bank. Because it's a Ponzi scheme. It's a way for you to borrow money or to force, this is what I'm saying, the same people who lobby your senators and representatives and give them money are the same people who control these banks. Same groups of people control these banks. And they'll say that they're not in cahoots with one another, but the whole idea is they kind of work like a mafia together. It's the reality. You just need to dig deep. This isn't hate. This is truth. There's a big difference. I don't hate anybody. And everybody who knows me knows that I don't hate anybody. But you got to really look beyond the surface and stop buying the bullshit of what everybody tells you. Just look yourself. It's available. But when you realize how the game is stacked, and you realize that the system that you thought you had some kind of say-so in, you really don't. And you're wondering why your pocketbook is always empty. And why they still want more from you. Why they want to keep making you work more and more. Like, used to be 65. Now it's 67 or 68. Could be 69 or 70. By the time, if you were born in 2000 or after, you may have to work till you're 80 to get Social Security. And I'm thinking about the only way that happens is if you have a bunch of people who fucking mismanage the funds that the taxpayers give them. See, we bring in trillions of dollars every year. It's already promised to people. Oh, defense. You got to buy. Why did we get rid of the other planes? Oh, well, we had to give them to Ukraine. Why? Were they working? Yeah. Okay. Well, maintenance them. Keep them going. Okay. And, the biggest problem is this war machine. We have a war machine that takes up almost majority, I would say probably the largest percentage of the funds in our government is done by this war apparatus. Trillions of dollars a year. And then they can't account for so much of it. It's a joke, my friends. This whole system is really a joke. But we continue to keep playing it. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired of being played the fool. I know what's going on. It's insulting that these people really think that they are getting away with any of it anymore. It really is. That's why so many of these senators and representatives are just jumping ship. Like you saw what Nadler now is leaving because he realized that he has no pull with this new crazy fuckery that's going on in the Democrat Party. And he's lost entire touch with his base. Majority of the people in that city have lost entire touch with their base. I am shocked and appalled as an American citizen that is what some states actually voted in to office. You got to remember, these people are representing you. So if your district needs help or needs something, you want to make sure you got somebody in there who is capable of doing the things that are necessary so that you can get the assistance you need. These people can barely tie their shoes. I mean, Texas has got somebody, Jasmine Crockett. And she's the most ratchet bitch I've ever heard talk. You need to listen to that woman. And I'm not saying that to be offensive. You go listen to that woman talk, and you tell me if that is what you would expect from a person who is representing people. It's okay to be upset about things. But when you talk the way that that woman talks, and I just said that, ratchet bitch, I said that on purpose to be as offensive as that woman really is. It's appalling that this is what they've given you. It's such a joke. This whole place is starting to, it gnaws on you because I know I'm not stupid. I know I'm a pretty damn intelligent guy. I am just shocked at what I see happening. I just don't understand how this goes on. I mean, if you are an intelligent person and you are walking or having to be exposed around this disgusting cesspool of bullshit every single day, I don't know what you would do. I'd lose my mind in an environment like that. People would get knocked out. It's just, I cannot believe some of the things that these people do, and they all hide behind lawyers and it's just disgusting. These people are just garbage. What happened to our nation to a point where our entire apparatus that leads us has turned into the biggest sewer? I just feel that we have been played for so long. I have no idea what the truth is anymore when it comes to the history of this nation and everything that's come before us. But I can tell you one thing. We have been lied to about so much stuff here. And until you and I stop fighting amongst each other and just sit down, we need to just start sitting down and having real conversations about things that just don't make sense to us. Let's just have real conversation. And when you talk it out, you may not get what you want to with the person that you're with, but you know what? You're still talking. We stopped communicating. We really stopped educating. We stopped teaching our children critical thinking and deductive reasoning skills. The parents of these children are worse. But you know, the worst part about a lot of this is that you have a lot of people today walking around as if they truly believe they know what's going on. They navigate their lives in a way, and they're rewarded for it. Many of them are rewarded for it because they follow the game, the rules, the system, the game that's been set up. They follow it. And because they follow it and do not question it, they will get rewarded for it. But I'm saying that the reward is so much better if you break it. You break the system, and you break the game that they have set up against you and I. It rewards us more. Think about the $350 billion that went to Ukraine. If you took that $350 billion and set it up into a fund managed by the right people, we could build homes for homeless fairly quickly in this country. In areas of land that a lot of people would say, look, they have to maintenance it, they have to take care of it. You could even run electricity, free electricity, bare minimum needs. I guarantee you could make that happen. But we don't want to do it. We don't want to reinvest in this nation. We don't want to reinvest in the people who defended this nation. We don't want to reinvest in the vets. We don't want to reinvest in the elderly. We don't want to reinvest in the education of our children to make sure that every American family that wants to have a big family can live on one sustainable household income. No, we don't want to do that. We want people living paycheck to paycheck. Why? Because then they won't have any time to realize that the whole system is gained against them, and they have no energy left over to fight back. They just have to wait for the tribute to come down the slide. Please, a lottery ticket, or please, government, give me some subsidiaries so that I can buy some food. Thank you. We're better than this. And the only reason why this shit is the way that it is, we've allowed it to happen, and we've done nothing about it except argue amongst each other, and I'm sick of it. Our country has been invaded by an outside influence. That outside influence is Israel. That's why we fight all their wars. That's why we fight in all of their bullshit. That's why we defend all their bullshit. That's why everybody at Congress stands up, because they're receiving money from AIPAC. And they got to receive money from AIPAC. And again, this is nothing against one group or another. It really isn't. This is the truth. Look up at all of your senators and representatives to see how much money they received from their different PACs. Okay? And AIPAC is one of them. The Anti-Israeli Political Action Committee. I'm sorry. You're receiving money from an outside foreign interest that you will be favorable towards that country and won't speak negatively about that person. They do it with people in Hollywood. They'll give them money to talk good things about Israel. Or it's when you see this kind of stuff going on, and then when you ask the question as to who you cannot talk about, why can I not have a conversation about that? Why do I get censored online? Why do I get strikes online if I mention this name when I'm only talking about the data? Usually, when you can't speak about a person, a group, or a place, or a thing, it's usually that thing, person, or place that's oppressing you. Just thought I'd throw that out there. So, our country has been playing these overseas war games for decades. Country after country after country after country. Go look at the 1980s. These little, they never were wars, little conflicts. But it's like we bombed or blew up so many dang places around the world. It's like, well, what are we doing? And part of me believes that the way you erase history is you destroy the relics, you destroy the history of that nation. Those people no longer have any attachment to what they used to be. That is the same thing that's happening here in the United States. It's happening in Europe. It's happening in Ireland and England, where you take people from outside the region and flutter them into the nation all over that country, and then support and pay for them to have children and pay for their homes and their electricity and subsidize all of their stuff so that they become a much larger percentage of your population and eventually outdo your population, or you intermingle with the population so that there is no longer a English group of people. It now becomes this melting pot. The culture disappears. And this is a planned game that's been going on for a very, very long time. And they're doing it right here in the United States. And like I said, we still have court system playing games on purpose to do what? Run the shot clock out so that we can not get the illegal people that shouldn't be here out of the country that you and I are paying for. It's amazing that we have people within our government right now that are actively working against the orders of a president so that he cannot enforce laws that he has the right to enforce, which is protecting the country. Chief law enforcement officer of the country, the chief magistrate, he has the right to say these people need to go if they don't belong here. And again, I don't know what has happened to us as a nation where we forgot who we are. The only thing that makes us Americans is this place. Now you could say, oh, we're a nation of immigrants. Yes, but they came over here legally many, 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 many moons ago. Now, I don't know. There'll be people argue with me, well, yeah, you stole it from the Indians. Look, I don't know. I'll admit to you that. I bet you the history is complete and utter bullshit. You're absolutely right. The Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria, I'm sure that story has been told 1,500 million times, 1,500 different ways. I don't believe we know really kind of what's going on before the 1700s. Something doesn't make sense. It's just... Anyway, that's another topic for another time. But yes, we have got to realize that we are living in an occupied nation. And even with Trump's, latest statement about what's been kind of going on and where, Israel is in the fight for Gaza, fight with Gaza, it's like in getting the last bit of Hamas out of there. It's like, but to what end? How many thousands or hundreds of thousands of Palestinians died because they were trying to get the boogeyman Hamas? Like the weapons of mass destruction, right? Are they still looking for them, or did they find them finally? They never found them, right? But you could be looking for Hamas here, looking for Hamas underneath here, maybe underneath here. I don't know. Hamas could be anywhere. That's the thing. They could say that they're Hamas, but I don't know. How will we ever know? And promise you, once this Hamas boogeyman is gone, there will be another boogeyman in Iran or some other country that Israel does not like, and they will be trying to get American interest, American media, American war system to start convincing the American people we need to go there and fight this crap. Boots on the ground again. We got to stop falling for the bullshit and the patterns that are right there. It's what you've been... This is the game you've been given. You want to change it? You got to get involved. You got to say, we're done and we're doing this. But we all got to move in that same direction. Or you do nothing. And you can watch the movie play itself out because it's going to be a classic. But when it gets to the end, I promise you, you're not going to like it. It's not going to be what you like. But it's always your choice. My job is to bring you to the water. It's up to you. to drink if you like. I often wonder if people actually understood nuclear power and all that other stuff, if the history of that, and really kind of what it was. I think part of that history has been escaped too. I'm going to share also a video in the comments of one of the people that I've been following for a very long time. He did a recent video. I think it's very worthy to watch, and then up to you to continue down the research rabbit hole. Because I think if you discover that that's not true, then you're going to say, well, wait a minute, if that's not true, then that's not true, then that's not true. And that's when it gets saucy, my friends. The whole part of life is continued discovery, continued pursuit for truth. When they tell you, no, you can't talk about this, no, you can't talk about that, no, you're not allowed to address these things because we've already, it's finalized. We put the lid on it. That's when I say, you're full of shit. Get out of my way. Continued pursuit of truth. That is the whole purpose of living in anything, especially with the amount of cascaded bullshit lies that they have put on top of us. I don't trust anybody in this place. Well, most of the people here. Why? Look, the entire setup is lying to us. It's lying to us. And I just try to escape as often as I possibly can from it. Because do you know how easy it is to get caught up into the rigmarole of this never-ending wheel of chaos? Some people do. Trust me. I take my breaks. Got to on this whole thing. Woo! But either way, leave me a comment, share, subscribe. If you have a question about what it is. Also, I wanted to address a lot of people, I think, within the NDE and other communities in the comments. I don't think you really understand why I do the channel I do sometimes. It's not probably for the reasons you believe. Even though I may push a particular character, it's because I'm trying to get the football to go into a particular direction. It's more than what the comment is actually asking. And I don't know how to really address it other than to say, I promise you, let me do the dance the way I do it, and you'll see kind of the results in the end. That's the best way I guess I can put it. But yeah, leave me a comment, share, subscribe if you enjoyed it. Please drop it everywhere, because that's how these kind of things get found. Most of the stuff that I say is going to be highly censored. I know that. But I'm not here to try to be popular. I'm here to talk truth. I'm here to speak from the heart. I'm here to share what it is I see. And I'm entitled to my opinion of what it is I'm allowed to see here. And what I'm, what the interactions that I've had with other people, what they've seen. Everybody has power here. Everybody has a voice here. And everybody, if we started communicating with each other more frequently and talked about the things that we really want to know more about or really concern us, we would actually solve majority of the problems that are problems. A lot of this crap that we see is problem, reaction, solution. It's a game. You are smarter than this. Do not let them play you. Do not let them pin you against us. We're smarter than this. This country gets better. This world gets better when you stay united, when you keep with your people and you work together to help each other out. You reinvest in each other. The United States government for years has been giving our treasure away and not reinvesting in you and me. And I think it's time we get that shit, those people who are being controlled by outside influence, out. No more earmarks for the military-industrial complex. No more writing blank checks for Mr. Zelensky. It's just insanity on the backs of the American taxpayer, who's already feeling it so hardcore. I think not. All right, my friends. I hope to talk with you soon. I know I haven't recorded a video in a little while. There's a lot been going on, a lot of stuff that a lot of people like to address, with the mass shootings again and all that. It's just, I will address that, but I'm going to address that topic. I plan on recording a video about that. But I'm going to use it from the medical side. I spent a lot of time in the medicine arena, the medical industry. I will give you my thoughts in a couple videos to come. But in the meantime, have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.